U.S. social media giant Twitter announced it was recruiting 11 people in Ghana, the company's first hires on the African continent, and plans to open an office there later this year. Social media giant joins Facebook and other tech companies moving into Africa, where founder Jack Dorsey spent a month in 2019. His quote, "Africa will define the future," Dorsey said at the time after visiting Nigeria, Ghana, Ethiopia, and South Africa. The jobs advertised in Ghana include positions for engineering, marketing, and communications specialists. So how to make of all the hoopla around the decision. Joining us from Accra to discuss further is Kweku Adoboli, finance, culture, and systems analyst. Kweku, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Jack Dorsey tweeted a statement that answered the question, why Ghana? Well, I want to have you read this, take a look at this statement here as we put it up when he talks about what Ghana offers. And he says here, as a champion of democracy, Ghana is a supporter of free speech, online freedom, and the open internet, of which Twitter is also an advocate. Furthermore, Ghana's recent appointment to host the Secretariat of the African Continental Free Trade Area aligns with our overarching goal to establish a presence in the region that will support our efforts to improve and tailor our services across Africa. Is that the recipe for attracting corporations and foreign investment, Kweku?
In many ways, this decision is a vindication of Ghana's efforts to become the trade center for the African Continental Free Trade Area. You know, whilst Addis Ababa is like the resolution and legislative center for the Continental Free Trade Area. I mean, to some extent, I think it is a recipe for attracting foreign direct investment, for attracting big global corporations who will come and create jobs and recruit your youth and sort of use up some of this youth bulge that we're seeing in Africa with 50% of under 25s unemployed. The issue, however, is that ultimately we are bringing in this sort of power player, and are we ready to be able to mandate and ask them or ensure that they act in a way that is for us? You know, you got to remember, let's not romanticize this at all. Twitter is a multi-billion-dollar company with the power to shift narratives, valued at about $57 billion. It's almost the same size by market cap as Ghana's GDP. So, you know, the reality is, you know, this is a big power player that you're letting into your house, and you've got to make sure that you have the ability to you know, restrain them so that they don't basically run over your economy.
Thank you for that. Your president, Nana Akufo-Addo, responded in a tweet saying that this is critical for the development of Ghana's hugely important tech sector. So in line with the context of what you said, we have, you know, Ghana has to be careful letting this massive player into their house. Do you agree with what the president said there about this being critical to Ghana's tech sector?
I mean, I think it is. Ultimately, we need ways to increase the exposure of our young people to build their abilities in the technology space. And the technology space is ultimately how we're going to be able to recruit vast numbers of our youth. Whether or not there are enough of them that have the skills to be able to work with or in such big organizations is a different matter. But in terms of whether or not, you know, this type of development is critical to the development of our tech sector, yes, it is, but not without its dangers. It's critical because it, you know, creates jobs, it brings expertise, but the danger is that it squeezes out the burgeoning tech sector, where there has been a shortage of cash, especially in Ghana. So that this sort of burgeoning sector where there's a lot of young people building things on their own with very little capital, suddenly now a big player like Twitter comes and sucks all those people in, and the agenda will be Twitter's agenda rather than building for what we need on the ground based on what the kids are seeing needs to be built.
Excellent. Thank you for that point. So based on, I guess, what the kids are saying should be built, how would you describe Ghana's technology scene on the ground where you are?
Yeah, so I think, you know, it's a two-sided technology scene, right? There are a lot of sort of smallish local fintechs, people like BlueSpace, for example, who are providing technology solutions to banks and mobile internet payment systems, etc. And for them, in order for them to be able to operate, they've had to kind of partner with outside players like SAS, Microsoft, etc. So it's kind of this sort of two-way system where expertise and capital comes from outside, but there's local ownership of these, you know, smallish or tech organizations. But then there's another group, which is the very, very, very small, where you've got these extremely talented young coders who are going through each of the challenges in our sector. For example, identification, addressing, post marking, so that we can develop other systems on top of it, such as being able to know where everyone is and check their identity so you can offer them a mortgage, for example. So there are two groups, and my fear is that it's been a long time in the making, and these guys have basically dug really deep to produce what they've done. I've met some guys who've created some excellent identification systems with real purpose and goals behind them, and with scale and the ability to find more scale. Now, there are examples where big organizations like Google have funded these small fintechs, and that funding has allowed them to evolve, but it's also allowed them to keep ownership. Again, bringing in a big guy like Twitter changes that dynamic, because the workers, the talent, go into the corporation. So now it's the corporation's goals, Twitter's goals, that are being met by these tech guys. And you got to remember, Twitter is doing this not because, so Twitter talks about how open speech and common purpose and ideas generation together is a positive thing. It is. But the reason Twitter is here really is to increase its footprint, to get more users, to increase its own market cap. It's not really thinking about, what do I do in Ghana? How do I improve Ghana's state? It really is thinking about itself. And anything else that it tries, any other benefits that accrue are a side effect ultimately.
So thank you for that. I've got about 3 minutes to go. There's about the rivalry between Nigeria and Ghana from sports, jollof rice, and so on. There's a tweet here from President Buhari's media team, Special Assistant on Digital New Media, Tolu Ogunlesi. He points out the fact that, we have Microsoft is here in Nigeria and Kenya. Google is also here. The debate now is about whether or not this is a loss for Nigeria or a win for Africa. And I know you're seeing this in Twitter's, for Twitter's own benefit, but how would you shape it? Who's it a win for?
I mean, I don't think we should look at this in terms of win-loss. I don't want to be a center of diplomatic row, but Ghana's jollof is better than Nigeria's jollof. Having said that, I really don't think this is a loss or a win for either. The African Continental Free Trade Area is designed to create open doors between all of us, whilst increasing our collective negotiation power with much more powerful external institutions, right? So, what Tolu has said here is that, these big corporations are spreading themselves around the continent, Kenya, Nigeria, now Ghana. But what they're doing is they're recognizing that we are starting to create a wall around ourselves in order that we can increase our collective bargaining power. And for them, it's important to get inside the wall. So you come and drop your spaceship on one of the countries, and then you can spread out within the Continental Free Trade Area. So in a sense, what they've done is they found a way to get past the firewall that African Continental Free Trade Area is trying to create. And we should focus on that rather than thinking about this as some sort of competition between Ghana and Nigeria. We're actually working on we're on the same team, going in the same direction, all trying to build from a very low base. It's very important for us not to get dragged into this fight about, especially instigated by an outsider. It's very important for us not to get into arguments about who wins, who loses, because actually we need to come together and combine forces.
Excellent answer. I think we only got about less than a minute to go. It's just April, so much tech news. I couldn't get your thoughts on App Zone, but I do want to ask you whether you think we'll see more of this as 2021 rolls out.
I think we will. I think last week it was announced that the MasterCard or Visa, I'm not sure which, I think it was MasterCard, bought $100 million of Airtel Africa. And you're going to see much more of these types of deals, because the expansion of QE, since March last year, developed market central banks have increased their balance sheets by about $10 trillion. All that money has gone basically into corporations' balance sheets. That money is searching for yield. It's going to come hunting. It's coming to Africa. So in various different ways, you're going to see more and more of these types of investments coming in. And Africa is the future, right? We are the frontier. So they're going to come. We need to find a way to make sure that we're protecting ourselves for the people, to harness it for our needs.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Kweku Adobuli, finance, culture, and systems analyst. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate your insights.